There are still loads of beginners within Dead Island 2, and even if you're not a beginner, maybe you're on your second or third playthrough of the game, there are definitely loads of mistakes that you are still making. And in this video, we're going to be going over the 10 Dead Island 2 mistakes that you are making right now. These will be mistakes from certain things that you're picking up that you shouldn't need to pick up, and things that you are missing out on that could get you some extra cash, or even get you a really nice weapon. We'll be covering all of that within this video in the top 10 huge mistakes that you are doing right now within Dead Island 2. So let's waste no more time and let's get straight into the video. So the first mistake that you're probably making is that picking up too much and being too thorough when you are looting. Now there is a lot of stuff of course to pick up within Dead Island 2, and by that I do mean loads and loads of stuff. Now there are crafting materials everywhere you look, weapons that are just flying out of chests, and plenty of documents, blueprints, and also keys to pick up as well. Now when you start Dead Island 2, you'll likely feel obliged to comb through each and every room you enter, eager to pick up absolutely everything that you see and just get, absolutely everything. And well, you really don't have to do that. You don't have to do that at all. Crafting materials and cash are important for upgrading your weapons in Dead Island 2, but they're also in absolute abundance. In fact, they'll respawn once you leave areas as well, which is something really important to know. Let's say that you go into an area and you loot most of it, and then you leave it, and then you find that you need some more loot. Well, if you just go back to that area where you were, then everything will have respawned and you can go through it all again. It does mean that the zombies will have respawned as well, but basically all the loot will have respawned, and it will be new variants of that loot as well. It's not going to necessarily be the exact same stuff, so pretty useful information there. And it does mean you really don't have to get absolutely everything. That's just not necessary at all. Nothing is going to despawn, and if it was to despawn, then it would just respawn anyway, so you really don't have to worry about that. And definitely don't feel like you need to pick up absolutely everything, since you need the inventory space. Let's say you find a really nice weapon, you might not be able to pick it up since you have just been picking up absolutely everything that you see, so make sure that you don't do that. Since you might also encounter doors that you can't open early on in the game. You might be thinking that you missed picking up a key earlier on, and the answer is that that is not the case. Chances are that this key will actually be found at another time later on in the game when you inevitably revisit that area, so definitely be wary of that. And also, once you begin to get further on into the game, then you'll be having most of the loot that you already need anyway, so you really won't be needing to pick up everything. You already have some pretty good weapons and some pretty good upgrades, so you won't really need to worry at all about getting loads of stuff to craft and everything like that, since chances are later on in the game you'll have everything you need. So yeah, really don't feel the need to pick up absolutely everything. So the next mistake you're probably making is that you aren't always stocking up on fuses. So of course this does really contradict with the last mistake, but this is something that you really should stock up on. So some of the most lucrative locations for rare crafting materials and really good weapons are actually locked behind doors that can only be opened with fuses. Now fuses can only be acquired by purchasing them from vendors. They are about 1,500 for each one, but it really is worth getting these. You really should always make sure that you have a fuse handy when you stumble upon these doors. Ultimately, it is a very small price to pay for what will undoubtedly be a very useful weapon, especially when you are in the early to mid stages of the game. So really make sure that you are stocking up on fuses, so the next time that you do run across one of those doors that needs to be opened via a fuse, you will have one so you can get that really good weapon or some really good loot. Definitely keep that in mind. So the third mistake that you're probably making is not sticking with one weapon for the majority of the game. So Dead Island 2 really would be nothing if not for its interesting variety of melee weapons of all different shapes and sizes in the game, from garden rakes and sledgehammers to knives and swords. Each kind of weapon comes with its own unique attack style, and there are different rarities of weapons within Dead Island 2. There's low level common weapons and uncommon weapons, and as you begin to get further in the game, then you'll find better weapons as well, where you get rare weapons and also superior weapons which allow you to actually attach more mods onto them, so really make sure that you do look out for those ones. But the idea is really that once you find a decent weapon that you like, stick with that weapon. Now of course your weapons will lose durability quite quickly, but you can repair them, and you should stick with that weapon and just stick to upgrading that weapon instead of frequently just switching and switching every time a weapon breaks. Just stick with one weapon that you like that works well and use that for most of the game. Of course you will need a couple to be able to counter certain zombies, but generally speaking about 3 weapons should get you through the entire game, providing they are decent and you frequently repair them and also frequently upgrade them. So definitely don't just switch between loads and loads of weapons. If you want to, of course, do that. It's going to be a bit trickier, but of course if you want to be able to do that and that's what you want to do to play the game, then by all means do that. I'm not going to stop you, but it is definitely better to just stick to a couple weapons throughout your entire playthrough, providing they're decent, then just upgrade and repair those ones, and you'll be good to go for your entire playthrough. So the fourth mistake you're making is repairing weapons and then upgrading them. It's worth noting that upgrading weapons will also repair them. So let's say that you are about to upgrade a weapon, but you notice it's low on durability, so you repair it and then you upgrade it. Well, don't do that, since just upgrading it will automatically repair them. Definitely something worth noting to save you some materials. Just make sure you upgrade them when they're low on durability, if you want to, of course. Do not repair them before you upgrade them, since, well, that is just a waste, so definitely make sure that you don't do that. So still on the idea of weapons, and that is to keep one weapon of every single attack style. Definitely something that not everyone will be doing. So a headhunter is good for inflicting critical damage on a zombie, then a bulldozer, which is an incredibly useful tool for knocking over several regular zombies at once, and then there is frenzy, weapons with fast attack speeds that can perform several critical hits in a row, and then there is maiming, arguably the best attack style to have equipped most of the time. So it is recommended that you have at least one of every weapon style, since this will be able to counter pretty much every single zombie within the game. Which brings us on to the next mistake, and that is not having a wide variety of elemental weapons. Now, certain zombies will be immune to certain elemental weapons, so you want to make sure that you have different types to be able to counter all types of zombies. Definitely something worth noting. Don't just get one elemental weapon and stick to that weapon for the entire playthrough. You need about 3, so I would say equip those 3 different elements at 2 different types of weapons to be able to counter every single attack and every type of zombie, and then just stick to those weapons through your entire playthrough, upgrading them, repairing them throughout the entire thing, and that will go in line with all of those tips that I just went through. So definitely something worth noting. So the next one isn't really a mistake, but something that you definitely didn't know, and that is that health packs remove any status effects that you have equipped. So you might have actually set yourself on fire, and well, an easy way to get rid of this is by using a health pack. It will not only give you a large portion of your health back, but it will also instantly remove any status effects like fire, shock, or of course bleeding. So definitely make sure that you are remembering that to make health packs more useful throughout your playthrough. So the next mistake is something that you didn't know, which is very similar to the previous one. This is the 8th, and that is that energy drinks are also useful for not just health recovery, but will also build up your fury meter as well. So if you're about to engage in lots of combat and want to get that fury meter up, then use some energy drinks to be able to also heal yourself, but also be able to build up your fury meter. Definitely something worth noting. So the 9th mistake is that you are using blocking and not using a dodge, and you're also not using it very often. Now, early on when you start Dead Island 2, you will have the option to choose one of the 2 defensive abilities, being block or dodge. Now, timing either a block or dodge before an attack can create an opening for a counter attack. This is incredibly useful, and you should be doing it often because it allows you to deal a significant amount of damage with a takedown attack. And from the mid game onwards, you'll find a variety of skill cards that augment the counter attack phase to give you increased damage, a health boost, or even other perks. Now, the reason that you should pick the dodge over the block is that even if you miss the counter attack phase with a dodge, you will still move out of the way of an attack, allowing you to save some of your health. But if you go for a block and you mistime it, then you are going to take damage since you're not attempting to move out of the way. So with a dodge, you are not only giving yourself a good chance for a counter attack, but also saving yourself from health, and also, well, yeah, potentially saving your life. Definitely something worth noting. So now we are on to the 10th and final mistake that you are definitely making within Dead Island 2, and that is not utilizing fast travel. So after visiting 5 different districts within Dead Island 2, you get access to fast travel, and you can find this within safe houses at maps, and it's definitely something worth utilizing since, well, it's going to get you from point A to point B instantly. Definitely use this, and it will definitely save you lots and lots of time, of course, and it's probably something that you are forgetting to use. So there we go. Those are 10 mistakes that you are definitely still making within Dead Island 2. There's some huge mistakes as well that could save you lots of cash and lots of time, and also pick you up some very good weapons. So definitely make sure that you aren't making those mistakes within Dead Island 2. So yeah, that does just about wrap up things here. Now, on screen now, you're seeing links to a video where I did a complete beginner's guide to Dead Island 2. So hit the link on the screen if you are interested in watching that.